Okay, folks, we're back again. So I have a completed headlight unit, pop-up unit. This is from a 71 C3, and I'm going to show you in this video the screws that I'm using, the ones that I got from Home Depot anyway, because I did get some of these from Home Depot. You can too. I'm also going to talk about the headlight buckets and how to figure out where they go, because each bucket has its own spot. They have to go in the correct place. You cannot, these are not interchangeable, and I have an easy way for you to figure that out. Of course, my easy way is that I labeled them because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to figure it out again. So I just labeled them, you know, this is the right side or the passenger side. So I labeled right in, right out. And the inside bulbs in both cases, so this one, the two inside are the high beam only bulbs, and the outside are the low beam high beam bulbs. And you also know the low beam high beam because it's got three connectors, right? A ground, and then it's got one connector for each of the low and high beam. So the one with the three connectors goes on the outside. So how do you know which bucket goes where? Well, there's a pretty easy way to figure that out. It has to do with the positions of the adjusters, which are these, the adjustment spots, and those slide in to, well, I'll show you on this side when I get it apart, but these are the adjuster spots, and then the spring attachment notch. All right, so over here, one of the adjusters holders goes here, one of the adjusters goes here, and then you have the spring here. And it's pretty easy to figure out that if you've got a holder that's got the adjuster at, when you're looking head on, noon, 12 and 9 o'clock, and then the spring attaches at like 4 or something, attaches over here, right? So the spring goes there, and the spring goes around that notch. That goes on the outside, right? That goes on the outside. On the other hand, when you've got adjusters at 12 and 3, and the spring is on the inside over here at like 7 o'clock or whatever that is, 7:30, 8 o'clock, then that goes on the inside. The only other thing you have to make sure is that when you put the bulb in, and it sits down these little protrusions, right? Those are the guides. See right there? That goes in in these notches right here. So on this one, I can do this with one hand somehow. I don't know if I can, but it'll eventually sit there. Okay, now it's sitting down in there, kind of. So once you get that sitting in there, and the text is, you know, it reads right, so the bulb's not sideways, and I can see that the adjuster is at 12 and 3, and then the spring attachment is on the inside, is you know, it's close to the other notch there, see, on the inside. Then it goes here on the inside. It's not on the outside. The outside bucket, here's another tip, is the adjusters are 12 and 9, and then look at the notch tab, the notch indentation and the spring indentation are far apart. All right. So on the outside, the spring is far away from one of the three bulb, you know, I don't know what those are called, bulb dents reliefs. And on the inside, it's right next to it. Okay, so that's pretty clear. Let's go on and look at some of the screws. Actually, I'm going to show you the outside, the bezel or cover, what I use for that. So there's two of these. These are on the sides. There's one back here, and there's one over here. And what I used are these. So sheet metal screw, oval head, 8x1. You could do 8x3/4. And that's just a sheet metal screw. So notice that it's got a point on it. Then you've got these two in the front up here. Those go in to that area, which is threaded. And it's pretty short. What I used is an 8 by 32 by 1/2. And I use machine screws with oval head Phillips. You could do maybe a 3/8, but this one worked. And I'm gonna stop here and take the cover off right now. I'll show you the other components. All right, so these are the mounts. And what you wanna do to start off, if you're mounting these, is you put these adjustment screws kind of in the middle. And I found that when I did that, it gave me a good starting place. So just start these in the middle. Here's one of the screws for the chrome trim. And that, I used these right here, which are sheet metal screws, panhead Phillips, 8 by 1/2. And actually, I did get 8 by 1/2, but they only had one pack. That's because they had one pack of the 3/8, which is fine. I used the 3/8 down here. Let me see if I can show you. That's a 3/8 right there. So you see you get enough thread going in. If I can focus it. That's the 3/8. And then look right above that here, you see the spring. And I went ahead and used a brass machine screw. For the spring, I used this type right here. I guess brass is good, won't rust as easy. So I used a machine screw, round head combo, 832 by 1/2. And it seems to like those. So here again, that's what I've got going on the side. There's the side near the spring. And then on this one, you see the spring and also the chrome bezel screw. Okay, so that's what's going on the inside. Like I said, you can start the adjusters like midway, just put them halfway in, and that way it'll give you a really good flat kind of starting point, and then when you get it on the car and everything and you do your adjustments. One last thing I found it has to do with the height of the door, and that's a big adjustment area. I want to give you a starting point for I believe it's the clevis. Oh my God, this thing's heavy. Hold on. I want to show you this right here. And the question is, how far do you screw this on to the actuator thread, the actuator rod that comes out, all right? So what I found is that a good starting point, and you might have to adjust this later, but you actually don't need to use this screw. You don't need to adjust the open or the closed resting height with this. You can do it with this screw here. But where a good starting point for I believe this is the cleave. I'm sorry if it's the wrong name, but whatever this thing is. You want to have about 10 threads showing, 9 or 10 threads on the rod. And if you do that, it'll put you in the ballpark. And then what you can do is you use, let me show you. So when you close it, when the lid closes, oh my God, you see there, that screw coming down, or bolt? That will come down and that rests in there. And you can adjust it with a hex, like a socket from below. And using that, you can adjust the height, resting height, in conjunction with this. But anyway, that'll give you a good starting point. I hope this is helpful. That's all I wanted to cover in this video. If you guys have any other tips or advice, leave it in the comments. All right, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe if you want. See you later.